What is going on, YouTube people? Today, another edition of the weekly sports card market update. Might sound a little bit different today. We are on the laptop. We are on the road. I am currently in Charlotte in my hotel room late on Saturday evening. Down here, finishing up Heroes Con, getting ready to wake up in the morning, hop in the car, and drive home. So, mobile edition of the weekly market update. Try to probably keep this one a little bit shorter just since I am not in the home office. Heroes Con was absolutely spectacular. Did a day one vlog, put that up on Saturday. Doing this today, we'll probably do a day two vlog for Monday. Absolutely fantastic time. Even if you're not in the comic books, super big. It is worth checking out those videos. I've had a fun time down here. Got to hang out with my old pal Dustin for most of the day on Saturday. And we got some pretty big stuff coming home. We have a haul coming home. I'll do a full video on that once I get back in the office. So, let's kick things off here. National. Now that I'm through Heroes Con, I can focus in on the National. We are under 40 days away, and we have some news to discuss on the National. We have trade night announcements. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but the clock is ticking. Next week when we do this thing, we're basically going to be at 30 days away. That is insane. How quickly, even though I've been counting this down every week since about the 60-day mark, it is crazy how fast the National is sneaking up on us. Before we dive too deep, shout out channel partner comc.com. Their submission event just ended for the reduced pricing. That is now over. I was hoping to take advantage of that, but was not able to get cards out the door in time. So I will need to do that when I get back home. I have some stuff I got to send off to them from Series 2. More on Series 2 in a minute. But live auctions are back up and running on the platform. If you want to submit to eBay live auctions via ComC, the details are over on their blog. Every Friday, this submission center is going to open up, and they have various different days of the month that they run certain sports and certain events. So you could go check out all this information over there. I've had pretty decent results on ComC auctions. You need to make sure that you're submitting something that's a little bit of a higher dollar value. I'll have to nose around on my account and see what I got over there to see what I got to submit to that. First up, on the newsy section of the video, Series 2 came out this week. Originally, a lot of people were like, Series 2, this checklist, overprinted, And then all the news started coming about Series 2. Props to Topps for kind of keeping this stuff mostly on the wraps up until the week of. And then it was a news dump of, oh, and there's this. Oh, and wait, there's more. We had Wemby autos, Stroud autos, Actor autos, first pitch autos. And really, the thing that really got everyone all fired up were the short prints. Initially, the checklist was kind of like meh, and then they're like, oh, you want all the good players? Jackson Holiday, Jackson Churio, Jackson Merrill, Wyatt Langford, Junior Caminero. How about some SPs for these players? Actually, I think Caminero is not an SP, but regardless, here's 3 or 4 of the top main rookies that you want. They are all short printed. And the Jackson Holiday, the one most people are interested in, even though he's in the minors, whoops. People are losing their minds for this card, and he's still in the minors. He got sent back down. They did a throwback to the Billy Ripken FF face, or FF bat knob, and there are, as of last count, and I'm being a little hesitant on this because it seems like more surface all the time, there are 5 different Jackson Holiday SPs of varying shapes or sizes. 4 of them are the throwback to the Billy Ripken. This one has a white scribbles on the bat knob. This one has fun face. This one has a black piece of tape. This one has black scribbles. And then there is a more traditional, just him batting. So all these various things are out there in some shape or form, and these are selling for pretty decent money. I have not had a chance to sit down and like do the math on which one seems to be the most rare. If someone's run into that, feel free to fire it away in the comments down below, but I haven't checked that yet. So you get the white scribble going for 365. Here's the fun face going for 420. The base one of him batting is the cheapest. Those have been doing around $100. And then we got some more here around the $400 range. So it looks like between 300 and 400 for his throwback one, if you want homage, and then $100 for the batting one. I did open a jumbo box of Series 2. That video is recorded. I just haven't had time to actually get it up. So you'll all probably see that sometime this upcoming week. I opened a jumbo box that I ordered during the pre-order process over on Topps. I actually bought two. One was pretty decent, felt pretty good after opening it. The other one was kind of weak. Definitely a little meh. I was going to do them live and then just decided to pre-record them, but you'll see one of those box breaks sometime later this upcoming week, unless it ends up being a super crazy news week. So, going back to the National, a couple stories to talk about there. Topps Ripped did an article on grading at the National, and there are one minor takeaway, like one life convenience thing, and then one kind of pretty decent newsy thing here. And this was also discussed on the Sports Card Nonsense podcast when they interviewed Peter, and it's about SGC's plans for the National. PSA and CGC sound like they're about status quo. Beckett, the one thing that they mentioned, which sounds good in theory, we'll see how it works, is they are doing a virtual queue for the National, so you don't have to wait in line if you need to submit. I know CGC did this last year because I used it, and it actually worked quite well. And CGC, actually, they're doing on-site grading here at HeroesCon for the first time in 4 years. They are on-site grading comics, and once again, they do a virtual queue as well. I didn't have to use it, but I saw people. You basically go and log into an iPad, kind of like when you go to a restaurant, and then you go walk around and they text you when it's your time to come do your drop-off or pickup or whatever it is that you're doing. It's very convenient, at least, like I said, I use CGC's. I assume Beckett's is going to mirror theirs, rather. So they have that rolling out. But the real thing here is SGC not doing on-site grading at the National. Only take-home submissions. That's it. Peter talked about this on the SCN podcast, and it was pretty much basically, we don't want to uproot the whole organization. We just caught up on our backlog. It's a big lift to bring everyone up there, grading, encapsulation, the whole nine. And the way he made it sound was most of their business last year was drop-off services where, hey, here's my cards. Please take them back to Florida with you, grade them, and mail them to me, not have them to me by the end of the show. So, just PSA, Beckett, and CGC doing on-site of the big boy companies. Just kind of interesting. Just throwing that out there. Kind of interesting. I don't know if this I doubt that this has anything to do with collectors or anything. It's probably just SGC's prerogative that this just does not make business sense for us. They know their numbers way better than we do. So in Peter, we all trust. So no SGC on-site grading at the National. More National news. We finally have the announcement. Official trade nights. Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 6 to 11 p.m. at the actual convention center. So there's been a lot of discussion about this with the trade nights and National and what's going on, and everyone's going to be spread out, and where's everyone going to congregate to. And the National has finally announced what they are doing. I may end up doing a second video on this later this week. There is a very interesting angle brewing here with after the show hours and trade nights and etc. I need to do a little bit more digging on it, and I just haven't been able to while I was on the road. So that'll be potentially a video later this week talking about some drama that seems to be brewing a little bit, some excitement. We got a little, the pot is getting stirred, if you will. But the National has announced their plans, 3 nights of trade nights, and then plus me, there will be pop-up ones. There will be other things going on that people will gravitate to, like on Wednesday night, for example. I am sure there'll be something somewhere. Actually, I pretty much know that there is. So, Formal ones, the one of the things that I noticed, a couple of my viewers did as well. I got some DMs on this. Doesn't look like Card Collector 2 is involved with these in any way, shape, or form. I don't see his name on here at all. So that's kind of interesting. You know, him and Jimmy at Kentucky Roadshow used to kind of lead the charge on that one formal trade night every year. Maybe one of them ends up being theirs, but I haven't seen anything announced on that. It sounds like they went with all big corporate sponsors and are doing giveaways and athlete appearances and all sorts of other nonsense. So basically, trade nights went corporate. So that's just kind of intriguing. Like I said, I don't know if that's 100% locked in, but you know, shout out to Ryan and Jimmy. They are the ones that kind of originated this whole thing and really kind of grew it to what it is today, that now there's an official one every single night of the week, which is smart. There should be an official one every single night of the week. There should be, especially in Cleveland, but even in Chicago, there should be a provided space somewhere at or around the show for trade nights. It's a nature of the beast, and it's a big value add for people traveling to the show. We've talked about this 100 times before, where even though the dealers, the old school dealers, can get grumpy about trade nights, it adds a ton of liquidity to a show and is a big draw for people coming out of town because they're just sitting in their hotel room. There's nothing to do anyway. So give them something to do. Give them an event to go to after regular show hours, and they will go. If you build it, they will come. I was once told in a movie. Let's hop over. I just want to look at a couple charts and graphs, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this puppy up. The NBA Finals, as of time of recording, are actually still going on. Dallas ended up extending the series. You could see card prices have been impacted already. That top line is Luka, then the yellow is Luka's Silver Prism. It went to the moon. We were going back to the moon, and then all of a sudden we were Apollo 13, and it is back down actually 12% over the last 30 days. So it did not sit up there for very long. Very fickle market in the Lucas sphere. Tatum continues to crawl upwards. He's up 20% now over the last 30 as they are on the cusp. But Jaylen Brown continues to be the biggest winner, and honestly, probably still seems kind of too cheap. If I compared a bunch of NBA players, he would probably stand out as being ridiculously cheap considering what he's accomplished. He's probably going to be Finals MVP unless something absolutely crazy happens in this last game. I believe that's Sunday night or Monday. I don't know for sure. I am super out of whack on all that stuff with being out of town. But that's kind of a quick look at NBA. Let's take one quick glance at baseball. I did kind of a broad approach to baseball last week, and someone in the comment section had asked, and I forget who it was, so sorry, but this one's for you. They'd ask, hey, what about Bobby Witt? He's having a hell of a year, and you are correct. His stuff, just generally speaking across the board, has all crept up a little bit. I was looking at some of his short prints and some of his rainbow foils and like that sort of stuff. The one that's really taken off the most is the Bowman Refractor. This is his 2020 PSA 10 Bowman Auto. The refractor version, number to 499. PSA 10 pop on this is in the 70s. You can see that one has really taken off, up 91% since I'm going back 90 days on this, so that puts us about mid-March. The other grades have not moved as much, but one thing to note here, so get your asterisks out, those also have not had very much in the way of recent sales. The last PSA 9 sold at the end of February, or at the end of May, almost 3 weeks ago now, and a BGS 9.5, the last one sold about 10 days ago. That one is up a little bit, about 6%, but not as much movement as the PSA 10 has. The PSA 9, it's almost not even worth looking at because it's been almost a full month since one of those sold in a PSA 9 slab. So that's where we currently sit with the Bobby Witt side of things. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up there just since I'm on the road. Like I said, try to keep this one a little bit shorter because this is probably, I don't mind recording on the go, but the weekly market update is probably the worst video possible to have to record on the road just because there's lots of tabs. Sometimes I have to edit this one a little bit more, and there's just always a lot going on. And it's just a little tricky to do on the laptop. Processing power-wise, the laptop's great, but just having a single monitor and a smaller monitor, and I use Windows PC in my day-to-day life, and that's what I normally record on and game on, etc. But my on-the-go machine is a MacBook Pro, and I always have to reteach myself Apple on how different buttons work for shortcuts and stuff like that. So, all right, I got to get this thing edited, get it up, and get to bed because I have a long drive home tomorrow, about 7 hours. So we will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Base.